So how have I swung this golf club at 103 miles an hour, yet only carried the ball 125 meters? Versus this golf shot here, I was able to swing it only 3 miles an hour faster, 106 miles an hour clubhead speed, but it carried over 100 meters more. What has happened? There's one number that I want you to be aware of. We're going to talk about this number and how it will absolutely transform your ball striking and distance. Let's get stuck in. So would you believe that the difference in distance between these two golf shots is over 100 meters? Now there was only one thing that I changed in my golf swing to generate the kind of carry distance that you're seeing here. And that's what we're going to speak about today. So stick around and I'm going to show you how to gain almost 100 meters with your driver. So before we jump into exactly what I changed, let's have a look at a couple of numbers based on the shots that I was just hitting. So you can see here that in the short shot, it carried 125 meters with a club head speed of 103 miles an hour. Now that doesn't add up. And you can also see there that my loft was down. My dynamic loft was 1.7 degrees and my launch angle was 0.3 degrees. Yet if we go to the longer shot, my carry jumped to 229 meters, essentially with the same club head speed, 106 miles an hour. So there's only 3 miles an hour difference in club head speed. Now that should only equate to about 10 yards, not 100. And you can see here that my dynamic loft jumped to 12 degrees and my launch angle jumped to 10 degrees. Now, why did that happen? There's one number that I think you can see on the screen right now that changed. That is the angle of attack. As we can see, with the shot that I got nice and high in the air, I was able to get my attack angle up 4.4 degrees versus the low shot, negative 5.8 degrees. So we can say that the most important number with our driver is our angle of attack. That created almost 100 meters. In fact, it did create 100 meters of added distance to my drives. So what we're going to talk about now is how to influence angle of attack. If you're someone who's hitting down on the ball too much and losing distance, I'm going to teach you how to hit up on the golf ball with 2 simple steps that you can use right away. So let's get stuck in. So on the bottom of the screen here, you can see a table that shows you what different angle of attacks do to our distance. So you can see there that 5 degrees up will give you way more distance than 5 degrees down with the same club head speed. So it's important to learn how to hit up on that ball when you've got driver in your hand. You're losing so much distance if you're hitting down on the ball. So angle of attack is essentially, are you hitting down on the golf ball or are you hitting up on the golf ball? And your angle of attack will have a big influence on what our loft looks like at impact. If we're hitting down on the ball too much, you can see that we've taken loft off the golf club. If we're hitting up on the golf ball, we can see that we've added loft at impact. And that's where you could see those launch angle numbers, my dynamic loft numbers. Remember that low shot? I was launching it at literally like 0.3 degrees. It stayed literally as low as this tee that I've got on the ground. Versus the high shot, it launched actually higher than what I've got on the as my loft on the golf club. So I've got 10 degrees of loft. That launched higher than my loft. So I've hit up on the golf ball and I'm able to generate a nice high ball flight. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go over the 2 things that influence your angle of attack the most. And the first thing we're going to talk about is your ball position. So with a driver, what we want our ball position to be is inside the left heel. So it's basically forward in our stance. So it looks a little bit like this. When we set up to the ball, you'll see that this wide alignment stick I've got on the ground is where my ball position is. And I've got a massive gap here versus a very tiny gap here. And what you're going to see is that ball is opposite or just inside my left heel. This would be where I would put it if you're wanting to hit up on the golf ball. Many golfers actually have that ball perhaps too far in the middle of their stance. I don't see too many putting it back in their stance, but they would definitely have it too far back in the stance. And this is going to get the body too far in front of the golf ball. And all of a sudden, we're going to see that this golf club comes crashing down versus a front ball position, which gives us an opportunity to hit up on the golf ball. Now the second thing we need to do is we need to tilt our body accordingly. So what that means is we are either going to be tilting our body towards the target, or we're going to be tilting our body away from the target. And this is one thing that not a lot of golfers do. So with our driver, you could have, at worst, a ball position that's in the middle, plus you tilt your body towards the target, and this is going to absolutely hit down on the golf ball. This is a recipe for disaster. What you could do is you could have that ball in the middle but tilt your body behind the ball, and at least you're giving yourself an opportunity to hit up on it, but I still wouldn't say that's any good. What I'd want you to do is have that ball position forward and tilt the upper body behind the golf ball. And this is what this will feel like to you, is that your chest and your head are really far behind the golf ball. Now, as long as you keep this angle throughout your backswing and your downswing, you're going to give yourself the best opportunity at hitting up on the golf ball. And that was the biggest difference that I made when hitting that ball 125 meters versus 229 meters. On the low shot, I basically had my body tilting towards the target and I hit down on the golf ball too much, versus trying to actually stay behind the golf ball and have an angle of attack that goes up. So what we're going to do now is just a simple drill to work on your angle of attack. So we've got our ball position forward, we've got our spine angle tilting away from the ball, and now I want you to just put your head cover in front of the golf ball, say about a foot, maybe 2 feet in front of the golf ball. So we're just going to place that right here, and what this is going to do is this is going to give me a bit of an external training aid that if I was to hit down on the golf ball, what we're going to see, and let me try and emulate this, is I'm going to actually hit my head cover if I'm hitting too far down on the golf ball. Now what I actually want to do is put that ball position forward, tilt my upper body away from the target, and learn to stay behind and not hit my head cover. And that's going to give me a really good feeling of hitting up on the golf ball and increasing my distance. So let's give this a go. I've got my head cover there. I've got my golf ball nice and high on a tee. I'm going to make my ball position inside my left heel. The next key is to tilt your upper body way behind the golf ball like this, and ideally not hit your head cover on the way through. So that was a really nice golf shot. Looking at my TrackMan numbers here, carry distance of 230 meters, angle of attack of 2.9. You might have seen there that I just nicked my head cover, so I needed to work on having more angle of attack upwards, but that was a pretty good golf shot, very nice carry, and as you can see there, nice and high launching, long carry, good to go. So next time you're on a driving range, or if you have a radar device that you can practice with, make sure that your angle of attack is working up. Always try to make sure it's working up and never down with your driver. Now, if you're someone who still struggles to get that ball high in the air, even though you've got your ball position forward, even though you've got your spine angle away from the target, there's one little thing that you're missing. So the video on the screen right now will show you exactly what that is, and that will be the missing link that I guarantee that you need in order to hit that golf ball much further with your driver.